We still do 7 NUFC Matters shows for free a week. But if you want to support the channel, there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast or video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications options. Hit the thanks button to buy a super sticker. You can do this on the live chat too. You can also join our Patreon page or buy us a coffee at the link in all of our video descriptions below. We are also looking for sponsors. If you want our latest advertising rates and how you can get involved, then email John at nufcmatters1892@gmail.com. Thanks for watching. Hi, welcome to a pre-recorded Ask Gibbo. How are you, John?
I'm good. I'm still flying high and happy as a sandboy.
Very good. Yeah, I was going to ask you, John. I mean, it's over a week now since Newcastle United became Carabao Cup winners. How are you feeling, mate? I guess it's been a busy old 7 to 10 days for you.
I've never known anything busier, and I'm loving every second of being busy, because the only reason I'm busy is because we've won something at long last. So everybody, and I'm the oldest guy around that saw things in the past, so I seem to be on everybody's speed dial as a consequence. But it's lovely. I mean, we've been waiting for this. We've been sort of the bridesmaid at the wedding for so long. To be centre stage now is absolutely terrific. And yeah, I don't think I have come down. It seems an eternity ago that we won it, because every day has been wonderful. But, I guess we've got another couple of days until the parade on Saturday. And then after that, Steve, we've got to come down to earth pretty quickly, because we're into business. Because on Wednesday of next week, we start playing again, and we've got a 10-game run in. And it's not as if nothing was available to us. If you win the FA Cup, Steve, it's the end of the season. You have a celebration, you go around town with a trophy, and then you have the summer off. This is peculiar, because we went straight into an international break, so that was a fortnight with Nout. And then we come back, we have a celebration with the Cup for the punters, and then we start playing again. And the 10 matches are so crucial, because, yes, we've qualified for the UEFA Conference League or the playoffs, and we would get through those, so we're in that. But we can get so much bigger. There's the Europa League and the Champions League. So we've got an awful lot to play for. So after Saturday, we've got to come down to earth, and we've got to get stuck into the run-in and try to get Champions League football.
How do you think the players will be coping with it, John? Because, the majority of these players have gone from never winning anything in their careers to suddenly being the focus of attention, cup parades, etc., which we'll come on to. But yeah, I mean, it's a huge change, isn't it, for those players? They'll have to adapt to this.
It is. One or two's been round the block. I mean, Kieran Trippier's won La Liga with Atletico Madrid, etc., etc., etc. So one or two's got experience.
He's actually a cup winner, of course, at his previous club.
Yes, he is. So there's one or two that know what it's all about. Though I suspect they don't know what it's all about until Santa comes round and they feel the adulation of the fans. If they thought that adulation at Wembley, and they certainly did, when they get up here and every Geordie can be there, it'll be a whole different ball game for them. What I want is for them, and it must have been weird for them in some ways, Steve, because they got taken out of the environment where everybody was bubbling to go away with their national teams, and suddenly people are getting injuries. Yes, it run on a little bit for Dan Burn with his first England cap, but Livermento's then misses out on the 2 games. Gordon gets injured with England. Bruno gets spooked with with Brazil and miss a big match with Argentina, etc., etc. So it has been a peculiar situation. But the difficulty are going at, they'll pick up the huge buzz again at the weekend. The difficulty for me in the challenge to Eddie Howe's to then bring them back down to earth between Saturday night and Wednesday night, because there's still a lot of work to be done.
Yeah, let's look at the cup parade, John. I mean, it's been a little bit of to and fro, and it seems. But I mean, I've got to be honest. I never envisaged them not having a bus, because the players have got to get there. I'm sure Eddie wasn't thinking about jogging them up to the town moor. But it was just the way that it was announced, I guess. The way that they asked people to register and stuff like that, and it got people's backs up. And this is the thing with social media: there's an automatic reaction, John. Wait until the full plans are announced, but they got there in the end, John.
But let's be truthful, Steve. The plan did not include an open top parade to start with. What got the open top parade was the backlash, and I instigated some of it from fans who were terribly upset. I mean, I think it was always considered, was always on the card, and the three main people involved, which is the club, the police, and the council, all suddenly the first statement that was put out didn't involve whatsoever an open top parade. It was the town moor, etc., etc. There was a considerable backlash to that. I was absolutely inundated with fans getting in touch with complaints. I did a piece. I don't mean I changed anybody's mind. I didn't. I just told it the way so many Geordies felt. And then all of a sudden, all three parties, who, by the way, had signed off the original idea, which was the town moor, suddenly thought about it again, and we've got a bus. But let's be truthful. I mean, the council, the rabbit come out of the hat, because the council said no, we didn't block a parade, etc., etc. And it was added, and it's a little bit like 100-yard sprint, isn't it, rather than a massive parade, because it's sort of been tagged on to the beginning of the town moor thing. But hey, I'm not in the blame game. I don't want to be in the blame game. And the last thing I want to do is blame Newcastle United, who have just given me the greatest moment I've had since 1969. So I'm so grateful to the club, but I'm also grateful, Steve, that they've seen the light of day and time, and so have the council, and so have the police. I'd rather give them thanks for very late on coming to their senses than start trying to say whose fault is whatever. At the end of the day, we've got a wonderful day on Saturday, and let's go out and enjoy it. But I got so many letters, Steve. There was a 90-year-old guy who's a season ticket holder at Newcastle who was in tears. He was there in 1955 when the cup was brought back, but he couldn't go to the town moor and stand for 6 hours and listen to a DJ and a band. He's beyond that, but he still earned the right to celebrate Newcastle's victory. There's a lady got in touch whose husband's disabled, and she just wanted to take him to stand on the curbside and roar their appreciation to the wonderful players in Eddie who had done so well by us. There was young families who they've got their little Ben who's just over a year, and they wanted to take him and have a picture of him in black and white on their shoulders, seeing the cup come home, because in years to come that'll stick with him. It's no good taking him to the town moor. There was families got in touch with me, Steve, from Scotland and from the south of England, who had booked to stay in a hotel up here overnight, to stand on the curb and roar at their heroes. And all of a sudden, they cancelled because they hadn't registered and didn't think they'd get into town more. And they cancelled. And they were deflated and almost in tears. This wasn't a do for the privileged or for the few or for the young people that want to party. And God bless them, by the way. I think it's wonderful that they can do that on the town moor, and young people are so much part of the thing. But this is a celebration for every Geordie from the age of 1 to 100, and everyone has to have the option. And now everybody has. You've got the DJ and you've got the band, and that's wonderful for the young people. You've got the on the roadside for everybody else. The Geordie nation can all take part in it, and we've all got together, get together. I don't want to attach any blame. I'm not having a go at Newcastle United whatsoever. They have given me my best time since 1969, and I thank them for it. Now, I know this has got nothing to do with the players and Eddie. This is above that, what's been going on. But at the end of the day, we've got what we wanted. We've got what the Geordie nation, not only what the Geordie people wanted, but what they deserve and what is their right, Steve. It is their right. They adore the club long before these players were born and long after the owners and the players go. It's their club from cradle to grave, and we've got it. So let's rejoice in that. Let's not go around saying, "Oh, who do I hang the, who do I put on the naughty boy step," or anything like that. It's all taken care of. It's going to happen. Let's go out and enjoy it now, because it is something to enjoy. I mean, I'm old enough, Steve. I was there on the roadside as a little schoolboy with my Uncle Frank in 1955, watching a decrepit old bus with a single decker with a sun roof taken out, and all these guys perched on the top holding the cup. And you thought, if they go around the corner quick, they're all going to fall off. And we're waving away to them, 1955. Absolutely wonderful. I was just round the corner from the central station. In 1969, the last time we won anything, wonderful, winning the European Fairs Cup. And I was actually on the second coach because we flew into Newcastle Airport. The first coach was the players and the management, etc. The second coach was the hacks who had been on the trip, etc., etc. And I was on the second coach behind the main coach on the drive down from the airport to St James's Park, showing off the cup then. That's when Bobby Moncur got a bit exuberant and flashed the cup up into the air and stuck it into some electric wires, and which singed the cup all the way, the Fairs Cup all the way down. There's your cup back after 12 months, mate. It's been torched a little bit. But wonderful days. And everybody has to be right there again. I don't think we're going to wait the length of time we've had to wait in the past for a cup. But when we've got your first domestic cup in 70 years, 7 decades, everybody has a right to be there, don't they? And we're all going to be there now. So isn't it wonderful? And at the end of the day, all we want to do is tell all the Newcastle players and Eddie how much we love them and thank them for what they've done for us, which is end our purgatory.
Yeah, listen, it'll be a great day for all those people. And I mean, I think it's a big thing for those people who didn't get a chance to go to the final, John. I mean, that's the one thing they can do. I think as well, and I'm not really playing devil's advocate here, John. And what I'm trying to suggest is that probably back in '69, Newcastle and Gateshead were two completely different places as far as roads are concerned. Now it's very difficult to drive around Newcastle. I guess that probably played its part. And I also think policing and stuff is so different now to the way it was back in '69. But one thing that hasn't changed is the volume of people who will want to come out and be part of it. I guess the Sunderland-Millwall home game as well will take quite a few Northumbria police down to that particular match, which is on the same day. So there are lots of things to take into consideration.
Listen, Man City had a bus parade when they won the Premier League title. Liverpool had a bus parade when they won the Premier League title. West Ham had a bus parade when they won the European Conference League. These are in big cities, Liverpool, Manchester, and London. It can be done. It can be done. Let's not pretend that it's something new. It's happened in every city where everything. Where all teams are successful. And can I put it another way, Steve? All we asked for was the club, the police, and the council to come together as a team and overcome obstacles in the same way as the Newcastle United players did. If the Newcastle United players had decided that it was absolutely impossible to beat Liverpool because they're the greatest side in the Premier League, then we wouldn't have won the cup in the first place. They rolled their sleeves up higher than their biceps and went out and won the cup. All we asked is that they made the impossible dream happen. So surely the same will shown by the people above will make a parade happen, and it has happened. And that is wonderful. But if the people that sit in high places had shown as much determination as the Newcastle United players did at Wembley, we wouldn't have had this little bit of nonsense. But let's forget about it. It's all over. It's all done with. We've got what the public deserve. And by the way, Geordie's after 70 years. You can't suddenly tell somebody, you can't come and stand on the curb because you'll say now, nothing's going to pass by here. You can't. There's people that's been waiting for goodness sake. I'm in my 80s now. I've been waiting. You can't tell us, turn up at the town moor, Gibbo, and stand in front of a DJ and a live band and do a jig for 6 hours. Maybe I want to take my family and stand by the side of the road. Maybe I want to repeat what I did in 55 as a kid. And honestly, you wouldn't believe the amount of people I've had get in touch with me over this before the decision went their way in a blind panic, deflated. They weren't wanting to be angry at the club. Not one Geordie wants to be angry at the club. They love the club so much. Since the takeover, it's been brilliant. We've had two Wembley finals. We've had a top four finish. We've beaten Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League. Everybody's grateful. All we said was, please, guys, will you wake up and realize what we want? We're not asking too much. Please give us it. Don't rain on our parade. Let us have a parade.
What's the feeling being like amongst the press pack who write for other newspapers, cover other teams? I mean, have you had you probably know quite a few of the lads who cover like the other northeast clubs, Sunderland, Middlesbrough, but obviously you know journalists up and down the country as well. I mean, I've found on a fans level. I mean, I've been down to London this week, and there's a place I go to, a bar I go to, where it's full of Arsenal fans, and they give me a standing ovation when I walked in. It was as if I'd won the cup myself.
Yes.
They were delighted for us. And bearing in mind, we beat them in the semi-finals. We've become a bit of a bogey team for them. But they were absolutely delighted for us. They were saying they were pleased that we got the monkey off our back.
I mean, yeah, you're right. You've experienced it as a fan. I'm certain lots and lots of people that'll be listening or watching this will have experienced it as a fan. I have as a journalist. I've got messages from all over the world and from local journals who are going, hey, Gibbo, we're delighted for you, me, because I know how long I've been following them, and they know that I'm a real connoisseur on failure, and all of a sudden I've got a cup. And delighted for Newcastle United. I think everybody, bar the Scousers, are thrilled we won the final. And even Scousers have come to me and said, Gibbo, you deserved it on the day. You've deserved it as great fans for so many years. And I've said to them, well, look, pal, you've got a little bit of a consolation. You're going to win the Premier League title. So you're okay. So they feel they can be pleased for us. In the whole of it was almost like the Kevin Keegan days, when the entertainers were every neutral's favourite team, everybody's second team were the entertainers. And there's been that feeling. And because we won it so well and so spectacularly and so front foot, everybody's thrilled to bits for us. And it'll be a wonderful day on Saturday. And I'm glad that the people concerned have moved a lot of problems out the way to make certain it's happened. Of course, there's going to be problems and difficulties. Life's like that, Steve. Life is full of problems and difficulties. The simple answer is you've got to overcome them. The Newcastle players overcome them at Wembley, and I'm glad that the authorities up here have overcome them as well, so that we're going to have a day that will make Geordies proud. Everybody will be crying again. The Tyne will overflow again with all the tears that'll be going in it from all the fans. It's just going to be wonderful and deserved.
Yeah, I put a suggestion in that potentially, once the dust settles, they might, allow the cup to go out to various non-league clubs, like Gateshead, Dunstan, you name it, go out to those kind of clubs and almost like give them an opportunity to show the trophy off, but maybe make some money from it as well. I'm not saying cheapen it, but it just gives as many people a chance to see the trophy as possible, mate.
I mean, I know that you mentioned that idea when we did the podcast last week, and I know it's your idea, and I know you're a non-league man, like I am myself because of my background with Gateshead. And I think that would be lovely. It would be lovely for the non-league clubs. It would be lovely for Newcastle fans. And the idea of getting a photograph taken with the cup would be absolutely fabulous. I'd all for that. But I want to get Saturday out of the way. I want to enjoy Saturday like there's no tomorrow. And then let's decide what we're going to do about the cup at the end of the season. It's virtually the end of the season now. Let's concentrate on the 10 games after Saturday. Because we've got a lot to play for, and let's play for it. And let's finish the season on a high note. Let it not whimper out because we've got our first cup, so we can just showboat through the rest of the games that don't really matter. They matter an awful lot. And also our pride. We've won it in style. We've become known almost like the old entertainers as team worthy of watching because we're playing the right way. Let's finish the season in that style and let's go out and get good results.
Yeah, we'll come on to that in the second half. Just want to ask you about Anthony Gordon. Anthony Gordon obviously, limped off for England with a hip injury. What's the the consensus of opinion on him? Will he be out long, or do you think he'll be back sooner rather than later?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, isn't it incredible? He's banned for us. In the middle of his ban, he's allowed to play for England. He doesn't start. Tuchel doesn't start, which must have been crippling for the lad. And then he comes on as a sub and gets injured. I mean, how unlucky can you get? Him and us. Um, no, what I'm led to believe, there would have been a good doubt, a big doubt for Brentford, but he can't play in that game anyway because it's a third match of his ban. Uh, and I'm told he well could be back for the next one. So, no, the news is not as bad as it might have been.
And the Lasses, we don't often talk about the Lasses on here, but there was a club record home attendance at the weekend, John, 38,502 for Newcastle United's women who took on the Sunderland women's team. Newcastle winning by 1-0. We're getting used to winning these derbies now. Shania Hales was a 78th minute strike, divided the two sides. Obviously, as well, I mean, I think they'd done 30,000 tickets before they announced that Bob Moncur and Darren Eales would be parading the Carabao Cup on the pitch, which we talked about last week. But that is quite an outstanding amount of people. I mean, it was a good weekend for them to play at St James's, of course. No Newcastle game against the Mackems as well. But still, John, 38,000 people coming to the club to watch a women's game. Did you ever think you'd see the day?
No, it's wonderful, and I'm all for it. And I'm desperate for this women's team to get in the top flight. And I know that's the aim of Newcastle United. It's the aim of them, and I'm certain they will do. It's a matter of when, this season, next season, sometime, and that promotion is allowed to happen, and that it does happen, and that is a work in progress in the same way as the Newcastle men's team is a work in progress. There will be bigger fish to fry and more accolades to come in the near future. It's fabulous. And why I'm pleased, being an out and out Newcastle United fan, is this area, which is notorious for producing great men footballers, as you know, the Charlton brothers and Ward Jackie and Gaza, and you can go through scores and scores and scores of them, have also produced, an awful lot of great women footballers.
Yeah.
From Lucy Bronze and Steph Houghton, and they all played for Sunderland because Newcastle United didn't have a team of any consequence then. So they come up in the northeast, they played for Sunderland, then they got bigger clubs in Sunderland with respect to Sunderland at that time, were just building. But they moved on, Jill Scott and everybody, to the big clubs throughout the country. So we've produced a lot of top girls. So it's only right that we should have a big side in this country. And Amanda was very big on that. And Newcastle United have continued the complete backing of that since Amanda left. And it's great. And it runs in tandem with what's happening with the men's team. Let both of the teams go to the very, very top and win silverware. I'm all for that.
Okay, halfway through the show, time for the ad. A big thanks to all our sponsors, Skips and Bins. Say hello to low-cost waste disposal with pay-as-you-go and contract waste management. Find them at their website, skipsandbins.com. Contact them, www.skipsandbins.com/contact. A big thanks to Mr. Vicky's Sauces, handmade in Cumbria. You can find them at their website, mrvickies.co.uk, email info@mrvickies.co.uk, or telephone 01768 210 102. A big thanks to our fanzine sponsor, United Group Travel. 2 crew, driver and courier, local family company, 3-star plus quality hotels and no interchanges. All excursions included. Find them at their website, www.unitedgrouptravel.com. Email them at beverly.ugtl@gmail.com. Telephone 01670 632 460 or mobile 0791 666 4174. Just £30 per person deposit. There are no strangers on our tours, just friends you haven't met yet. A big thanks to Media Arts for all the help with the technical side of things. You can find them at their website, media-arts.co.uk. If you want to listen to us as a podcast, you can go to Sports Social Podcast Network. You can also find us on iTunes, Spotify, and your other podcast providers. If you want to help support the channel, hit the thumb up, which is the like button. Click share to share to your other social medias. Click join to join the channel. And click the subscribe button. We've also got links in our description for buy us a coffee and to be a Patreon member. Some events coming up. An afternoon with Sir Les Ferdinand, 6th of April, 12 till 4. Tickets available from ticketmaster.co.uk. No Covers takes place at the Cluny, Lilac Lane, Ryder and the Chris Norris Band. Tickets from theclooney.com or by telephone in 0191 230 4474. An evening with Steve Howie and Steve Watson, hosted by Joe Allen, takes place at the Tyneside Irish Centre on the 27th of June. Tickets for that are from newcastlelegends.com. An evening with Peter Beardsley and Chris Waddle takes place at the Tyne Theatre and Opera House on the 23rd of January 2026. Box office 0844 246 1000 or website tynetheatreandoperahouse.tv. An evening with Bad Manners takes place on Friday the 30th of January 2026 and tickets available from ticketmaster.co.uk. And we have copies of The Entertainers 1992 to 1997, Kevin Keegan's Legacy, available from newcastlelegends.com. Okay, welcome back to a pre-recorded Ask Gibbo show. Just a little bit of fixture news. Newcastle's visit to the Amex Stadium to face Brighton and Hove Albion will now be a 2 o'clock kickoff on Sunday, May the 4th, which will be live on Sky Sports. And for once, there's no rescheduled rail engineering works directly impacting travellers from the northeast. So hopefully a little bit easier to get to and from Brighton. For that one, Sky have also confirmed their live coverage of Newcastle's Premier League home game against Crystal Palace. The date and kick-off time of that, Wednesday, April the 16th at 7:30, is unchanged. According to the Premier League's own press release, live TV selections for the weekend of May the 10th are due to be announced this Friday. Newcastle, of course, host Chelsea that weekend. It is expected that that game could be televised as well. So keep an eye out on that. Tickets as well on sale for Aston Villa away. Season ticket holders now who have 20 points can apply for that. And if you're looking for home tickets as well, don't forget the Manchester United, the Crystal Palace are both on member sale now, and the Ipswich game a little bit later. That's a member ballot at the moment. So get yourself onto the website if you are interested in going to games. Tickets to be had. John, let's look ahead now, really, I guess, to the fixtures coming up. 10 cup finals, mate. 6 at home, 4 away. Newcastle have got some big games on the horizon.
Oh, and everything at stake. Yes, as I said before, we're already in Europe of sorts. That is something, but you can hardly say we haven't got something to play for. And 10 games is a big number. I mean, it's 30 points. It's a big chunk of a season. It'll go over very quickly. But if you look at the fixture list, there's a real opportunity for points gathering. And we want to finish on a high. The feeling we've just had, we don't want it to evaporate. We want that feeling to roll over into the next games and finish the season where we pull down the curtain on the season. We're in the Europa League, or please let it be the Champions League. And then we look forward to our summer holidays. We look forward to who Newcastle United will buy in the summer, because they will buy this summer, unlike the previous windows. And then we're off again at the beginning of next season. Everything's looking rosy then. And that's the way we need it and want it to be. So from next Wednesday, I'd say down to business. Let's park the cup over there. We can keep having a glance at it and saying, oh, yeah, we did win it. But let's be tunnel visioned and let's go and get points.
Brentford, we'll look a little later at that game just before the end of the show. But Brentford at home, Manchester United at home, Crystal Palace at home, Ipswich at home, Chelsea at home, and Everton at home, John. Those are the 6 home games. Games there which, you look at Brentford and Manchester United, Palace. You're looking at teams, Ipswich, of course, going back into the Championship, no doubt about that. Everton, they're treading water at the moment. Chelsea, of course, are a competitor. We'll play them, as I've just announced, towards the back end of May. But those games at home, John, you should be looking at maximum points.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, absolutely. The interesting thing and the confusion thing, if you like, Steve, first and foremost, let me say, if we played the 10 games that are remaining the way we played the Wembley final, we win every one, including away games in that. We win every one. Of course, we won't play like that. That sort of intensity kept up for 100 minutes, because that's what it was. There was 10 more minutes added on at Wembley. To play with that intensity for 10 successive games is almost a physical impossibility, because we left everything out on the pitch. It was sensational, and there was a huge prize at the end of the day. So you go bang, bang, bang. We can't produce that again. No team could. But we want to get as close as we can to that sort of performance to give us a real chance as we run on. Now, there's 2 ways of looking at this, Stephen. As Geordies, we always do, is we're pot half full or is we're pot half empty. You look at the fixture list and you think, it's terrific. It's terrific. We've got a real chance. Then you look at Newcastle's history this season, taking Wembley out of it and looking generally at the season. And we are always up for the big games, Steve, but not so for the rank and file games. We've lost up here to sides we should never have lost to, like, West Ham and etc., etc. We could name them all. So, these sides that look like it's automatic 3 points, is it 3 points, or are they the danger because we don't get up for that? But Arsenal away will be up for, because we've been up for every top team we've played this season. I mean, I mentioned, I think, on here last week, Steve, we've won the Carabao Cup by beating Liverpool in the final, Arsenal at home and away in the semi-final, Nottingham Forest before that, and Chelsea before that. And they're the best. They're the top 4 sides in the Premier League right now. We beat them, but will we beat the mid-table sides or the sides a bit further down? I believe we will, because we'll concentrate in the feel-good factor going on. But there's always that uncertainty, isn't it? We're better against the bigger clubs, results-wise, than we are against the more average clubs.
Yeah, I mean, the 4 away games, they really stand out now that when you start looking in depth at it. Leicester away, which is on the 7th of April, which is live on Sky. Leicester, again, a team facing relegation. Sometimes you go down to those games and you get a surprise result. But that one you look at and you think, okay, there's your easy one of the 4. Aston Villa away, we've had good days and bad days in Birmingham over the last few years. Brighton away, that's a really big fixture as well because Brighton are doing so well this season. And you've already mentioned Arsenal, John. I have a feeling that our Champions League destiny lies in our away games as much as the home games.
I think it will. I think it will, without a shadow of a doubt. The another factor that comes into play, Steve, and it's one of these that we don't know sitting here now how it's going to pan out. We know only too well, don't we? And all the Newcastle fans do, that the closer you get to the end of the season, matches that looked impossible suddenly become very possible because the opposition have nothing to play for. You've got to look at what the opposition may have to play for. Um, Everton, the last game of the season up here, will have absolutely nothing to play for. We should roll them over quite easily. Arsenal, we've rolled over 3 times out on 3 attempts this season. Will they be going for something big? Well, they certainly won't be going for the Premier League title because that's beyond them. But will they want second place again? Or will they have anything going in the Champions League? Where will be this position with Brighton and Chelsea, who are around us in looking for Champions League football? It's what is on the line at the time. Fixtures change dramatically, don't they? In terms of you can get a team at the right time, play them, and there's nothing at stake. And you feel Leicester in Ipswich are just 6 points there for the taking. Everton, the end of the season, they'll be safe. Everything's fine. Nothing to play for. If we need 3 points to guarantee the Champions League, we win. So it depends what the situation is when you play these games. Certainly, Aston Villa, Brighton, and Arsenal on paper are the 3 decisive games, aren't they?
Yeah, no, they most certainly are. International week, of course, this week. Alexander Isak, wow, an assist and a humdinger of a goal for Sweden yesterday. He's a striker on form at this moment in time. But I tell you what really pleased me was the fact that when he joined the Swedish camp, he was asked quite clearly by the Swedish reporter about his future. He's very happy on Tyneside, John.
Oh, there's absolutely no question. I've been saying for a long time, this boy ain't leaving in the summer. And I'm sick to death of the national press and the ex-footballers down south and the clubs down south being very naughty and trying to suggest that they might try to sign these players in the summer, Isaac and Bruno and Gordon and Tonali and Joe Linton would come into the situation. All of a sudden, we've won a cup, and I don't think there's a good reason now why any of our blue chip players should look to get away this season to improve their career and improve their chances of winning something. I mean, where do you go? I mean, if you go to Arsenal, well, aren't they always the bridesmaid rather than the bride? I mean, they finish second all the time, but win now. So, is that a huge move up from Newcastle? Man City look as if they're imploding now after being the wonderful club way above absolutely everybody. They're imploding to a certain extent. Man United are a mess. Chelsea just form a long line of players to sign and then decide if there's a dressing room peg for them or they'll go out and change in the toilets because they've got so many of them. So, yes, there's Liverpool that will be the Premier League champions, etc., etc. But we have earned our right to stand amongst the competition. We're not a small club looking into the big clubs. We've always considered ourselves a big club, but we are now. We've won a title. We're back into Europe in some shape or form, and it looks as if the rocket is taken off for the moon. Now, be careful what you do if you're an individual player and you want to leave here. We will get mischief makers in the summer. Clubs the so-called big clubs who will let it float through agents and through other people into the national press. We are looking at Isaac. We're looking at him. We're looking at him. We might come and bid 90 million for Isaac. They know they're not going to get him for 90 million, but it might unsettle the guy so that he thinks, oh, I might want to go there, etc., etc. Like Liverpool did with Gordon not so long ago. You'll get mischief makers like that. But we have won a trophy and we have got back into Europe. Let's make certain in the next 10 games we make the Champions League. If we make the Champions League, Steve, and we've just won a domestic trophy, why on earth need you leave this club in the summer? There's no need to leave this club. I tell you what, there'll be plenty lining up to come to this club in the summer. Never mind people leaving it. It'll make it that much easier for us to sign quality in the summer. I don't think this is a time. Oh, we're going to hear it all again, and we're going to get it all summer. Yawn, yawn, yawn. Pat, pat, pat. Somebody's eyeing Isaac. Somebody's. Of course, it would be stupid if nobody was eyeing Isaac. He's the best centre forward in Europe. He scored 25 goals last season for us, 23 this season, and there's another 10 matches to add goals to it. Of course, everybody be eyeing him. And of course, people would want Gordon. He's England's outside left when fit. Of course, people would want Tonali. You watch him play, he's a world beater. Of course, they would want him. But that doesn't mean they'll get him. And that doesn't mean the guys want to go. I tell you what, you watch the guys go around the streets in the bus on Saturday and then go up to the town moor and see the adulation and the size of the crowd at town moor. Then as they leave to go home that night, you stand by the side of the road as they all get into their big cars to go home and say, do you want to leave Newcastle? What just happened? Do you want to leave Newcastle? I hear that Chelsea are in and you could get into the reserve team. Are you looking to get away? I'll see what I can do for you. Hey, do me a favour.
Brilliant. Newcastle United take on Brentford at home Wednesday, April the 2nd. Of course, our next show will be a week on Thursday. Thomas Frank brings his bees to the Gallagher for a non-televised, the Busy Bees, 7:45 start. This will be the 8th time that the two clubs have met in top flight competition. Newcastle winning 5 and drawn 1 of the first 6 before Brentford notched up their first success in West London last December. Results from Premier League games played while Newcastle were at Wembley left Eddie Howe's side 6th in the table on 47 points, with Brentford 6 points and 5 places behind that, having played a game more. Early team news: well, Anthony Gordon will serve the 3rd and final game of his suspension and should be fit to resume playing for Newcastle against Leicester in the next game, while Sven Botman and Lewis Hall remain sidelined through injury after having surgery. Injury victim Jamal Lascelles is nearing a return to the squad after a year out. We did see Wembley, of course, lifting the cup with Bruno and Kieran Trippier. Early news for Brentford: Fabio Carvalho remains out, but Michael Coyote, Matthias Jensen, Igor Thiago, Josh Da Silva and Aaron Hickey could all return. Since a 2-1 defeat at Chelsea last December, Brentford are unbeaten on the road in the Premier League. A 0-0 draw at Brighton, wins at Southampton 5-0, Crystal Palace 2-1, West Ham 1-0, Leicester City 4-0 and Bournemouth 2-1. The referee has been announced, and that is Peter Banks. It's his 3rd Toon posting of the season. The 3-1 Premier League loss at Fulham and the 1-0 Premier League home defeat by Brighton. Not a very lucky referee to have for this fixture. Brentford have also lost both of their games, though. The Banks has taken charge of this season.
How can they both lose on next Wednesday?
VAR is on, of course, in a Premier League game, and it is Craig Pawson. Other Premier League fixtures, just out of interest, because we all get into the business end of the season. Arsenal take on Fulham, Wolves, West Ham, Nottingham Forest versus Manchester United, which is next Tuesday, and Wednesday next week when we play, of course, Bournemouth take on Ipswich, Brighton Aston Villa is an interesting one, Man City take on Leicester, Southampton take on Crystal Palace, and of course it is the Merseyside derby next week, Liverpool versus Everton. There is another game which takes place on Thursday, another one which is of interest to us, of course, Chelsea take on Spurs in the derby as well. So, John, Brentford at home, get off to a good start with our last 10 games of the season. That's what we're looking for, isn't it? How do you see this one going, mate?
Absolutely. I mean, Brentford have won their last 5 away games. Mine, 2 of those were against Southampton and Leicester, and everybody's winning against those 2. But nonetheless, they've won the last 5. They're a better away side than they are at home, although we've suffered at the hands down there. But they are on a good run. But as far as I'm concerned, if they've won 5 away, they're not going to win 6 away. The record's there to be broken now, and we are there to do that. Now, if we are going to make the Champions League, we are going to face and have to overcome opposition like Brentford at St James's Park. And I mean, it's inconceivable to me, and Steve, as a Geordie, I would think to you, it's inconceivable that after we've just won the Carabao Cup with the most sensational performance, we've all been flying around St James's Park in Tyneside in the northeast for the last fortnight, it'll be, and more by the time this game comes around. We'll have had the parade. You can't see us coming home and getting beaten. Surely adrenaline alone, the crowd will be up for it. They'll be sky high. They'll be giving them an absolute welcome of a parade of heroes. And, that alone, the adrenaline ought to take us through a game. Yes, we're going to be without 3 of our best players in Gordon, Lewis, Hall and Botman. But we were without those 3 at Wembley, and we bullied the best side in the Premier League, Liverpool. So I'm looking for us to beat Brentford as good as they are on the road at the moment. And the fact that we haven't got Gordon and Hall on that left side, we overcome all that at Liverpool. We need a good start to the run-in. We're at home with the adulation of the crowd, thrilled by the victory, and the boys running out in a black and white shirt again. Surely to goodness, an hour and a half later, whether it's been tough or whether it's been another exhibition of wonderful football, surely we end up winning.
Prediction, John?
We win.
We win?
We win. Whether it's 3-1 or 2-1 or 17-0, I don't care. We win. We win. That's the most important thing. 3 points.
John, great to have you on as always, mate. Look forward to seeing you next week, my old pal. Enjoy the parade.
I will indeed, and I hope I enjoy the match against Brentford as well. And when we meet up next week, the smile's still as wide as the Tyne Bridge, and we're talking about how successful Newcastle's been again. Keep the faith, my friend. It's been worthwhile, hasn't it?